Hi, we're the group that against Betty suffer from Anoxia nervosa. I'm Eve, and here are my group members Michelle, Heather, Elsa, and Henry. Let me briefly introduce the case to you for once. Betty was referred to professional psychiatrist help because she was suffered from blanching and stomach bloating for 3 years. Although she did not vomiting, over-exercising, her weight was dropped to 33.4 kilograms. And her symptom might be influenced by the traumatic event happened in her family or by the social pressure or social norms from her classmates. My group members will elaborate our arguments in the following perspectives. Firstly, while we can draw conclusions simply based on the symptoms in the case, for example, are there any lack of key symptoms? And our second point is, can we draw some alternative diagnosis from the symptoms in these cases? Now let us welcome Michelle to talk about why this case does not fit in the symptom.
To argue against Betty having anorexia nervosa, let's see some unmatched symptoms of the criteria of anorexia nervosa first. One of the most important criteria of anorexia nervosa is that person with anorexia nervosa avoid eating because of his or her intense fear of gaining weight or of becoming fat. But in Betty's case, she is eating less and less food due to her discomfort of belching and stomach bloating after she eats. Besides, Betty shows no sign of fearing gaining weight when she eats. She prefers soft and liquid diet and eats slowly, which is not considering energy intake, but seems to be avoiding her indigestion. People with feelings of indigestion might choose the same way as Betty does. Moreover, the case mentions that a comprehensive medical workup of her gastrointestinal system was normal. A suspicion about her indigestion was raised. It is possible for her to have somatic symptom disorder, and if improved her discomfort, it's very likely for her to weight gain again.
Yes, and for another symptoms Betty has is that she doesn't feel she is too skinny, although she only has 30-something kilograms. We think that this can be explained by the social norms. She mentioned that her classmates and even the popular and smart girls in her school tend to be very skinny. So it's very normal for her to think that she's not so skinny. And another thing is she feels that she's a very cute girl. Might be the cultural norms that the small shape is being considered as cute. And another situation she has is she didn't want to grow up and she wanted to stay in childhood forever, and she enjoyed being the youngest child in his family. This is another problem that we think have alternative explanations. On one hand, she feel anxious about her future and going to college. So when we face an unacceptable situation, we will experience a kind of self-defense. We call it regression. In this case, she wanted to reversion to an early stage in her development, which is the childhood. And another explanation is that she was affected by her father's death and experienced some symptoms of PTSD.
Yes, as a description in the case, the sudden death of Betty's father worsens her symptoms of belching, stomach bloating, and eating less, which meeting the criteria in PTSD that traumatic events occurred to a close family member or close friends. In addition, she eats slowly and takes 2 to 3 hours to finish a meal. It may be due to the problem with concentration, which is another criteria of PTSD. She also described herself as somewhat socially and sexually immature and uncomfortable about heterosexual relationships. Additionally, she admits she is not close friends with any of her classmates and she rarely sees these girls outside of school. Meeting the criteria that the disturbance causes clinically significant distress or impairment in social, occupational, or other important area of functioning of PTSD. Another criteria is feeling of detachment or estrangement from others. When Betty noted that her father had committed suicide, she may feel the world is not safe enough, which the criteria of PTSD have mentioned persistent and exaggerated negative beliefs or expectations about oneself, others, or the world. Like the world is completely dangerous. Betty may believe that her father's suicide is due to the tough outside world. Ultimately, even though Betty did not have PTSD, we thought some of symptoms of PTSD do present in Betty instead of Anoxia nervosa.
In a word, we are against the view that Betty has developed anorexia nervosa because she is not satisfied with several criteria of it. Like the reason she takes less and less food is not afraid of gaining weight or becoming fat, while she is trying to avoid feeling uncomfortable because she has been troubled by belching and stomach bloating. She doesn't feel that she is too skinny, although she actually has an extremely low body weight. But we believe that girls always feel that they are not slim enough, and it's a kind of social norm across different cultures. So it cannot prove that she has developed anorexia nervosa. After discussion, we believe it is possible that she may have some other psychological disorders other than anorexia nervosa according to her behavior. The case doesn't talk about the direct influence of her father's death to Betty, but we think that she has developed PTSD to some extent. She has problems with concentrating after the traumatic event. She became afraid of outside world and socially and sexually immature. Her self-defensive mechanism of regression has been activated, which is part of Freud's theory, because she mentioned that she hated to grow old. That's all for our debate. Thank you for your attention.